Notes 17.2 or week 7, task 1, over the law of sines. So with the law of sines, we are talking about a normal triangle. So this is what we would have been doing if we had come back after spring break. So we have our normal ABC triangle. Okay, remember that capital letters, ABC, capital letters are angles. And then the lowercase letters are the side lengths across from those angles. Okay, so for this triangle, triangle ABC, we have the law of sines. So the law of sines says the sine of an angle is proportional to the side in the same way that the sines of all of the angles are proportional to all of the sides. The law of sines can be used to solve triangle problems where a side and angle pair are known, or two angles and a side are known. So we have a couple different times that we could use this. So they want us to find the missing parts for each triangle. So we have triangle ABC, where angle B is 65 degrees and angle C is 45 degrees. So first, to find angle A, we can do a simple 180 minus the two angles we know. So in my calculator, 180 minus 45 minus 65, oh cute. 180 minus 45 minus 65 is 70 degrees. So this angle A is going to be 70 degrees. Then we know side B is 9. So when I'm looking for side A, I'm going to have to use the sine of angle A with A. Now, my other proportion needs to be something that I know all of the information about, because when you have a proportion, you can only have one unknown, and I already have my unknown side A. So I have to figure out what other proportion I can use in this set of proportions. So I have A already, so my options are B and C. Well, if you notice, B, I know the angle and the side. So I would be able to say sine of angle B over side B. And again, notice I only have that one unknown. If I used angle C or side C, I would have gotten stuck because I would have been like with two unknowns. So to solve for A, we do the cross multiply. So A sine 65 equals 9 sine 70. And then I would divide everything by sine of 65. So A is going to be 9 sine 70 over sine 65. And I'm going to put this, let me do a different color. I'm going to put this in my calculator just like I see it. So, in my calculator, oh my gosh. Y'all, it's been a day. Okay. So in my calculator, I'm going to put it in just like I see it. And remember, we are talking about like sine of 70 and sine of 65 are degrees. So I need to double check. And if you notice, I'm not in degree mode. So I need to switch to degree mode. On the assessments, there is a calculator that you will have access to that has a degree mode. You can switch it from radians to degree. It's basically if you see rad, it's in radians. If you see deg, it's in degrees. And so you can switch it on the assessments to use that calculator if you don't have one at home. So A, on the sides, we round to 3 numbers after the decimal, so 9.332. Okay, so then to find side C, I can do something very similar. Now, I just found side A. I can absolutely use side A and angle A to use my proportion. However, what if I type something in wrong? What if I forgot to switch from degree to radian? What if I rounded wrong? The fact that I rounded means I probably shouldn't use it anyways. So I'm going to use side C. So sine, hello cute, sine 45 over side C. And then I'm going to use B again just to make sure that nothing really goes wrong. Okay, so cross multiply C sine 65, 9 sine 45. Divide everything by sine of 65. So C should equal 9 sine 45 over sine 65. And this is what I'm going to put in the calculator. So 9 sine 45, well, 5 over sine 65, and I get 7.022. Okay, now I want to remind you of something. The biggest side, and I'm going to highlight here, the biggest side should be across from the biggest angle. So side A being 9.332 makes sense. 65 is pretty close to 70, and side B is pretty close to side A, and then C is the smallest angle and is by far the smallest side. So remember, you can do a quick check or a reasonability check just by looking at, do my sides and angles make sense? Do they go together? So problem 2, we're only doing 2 problems. I have A, B, C. I only know angle B. I know side B is 15 and side C is 11. Now remember, when you're setting up your first proportion, you can only set it up with one unknown. So I know if I looked at like A, B, and C, I know 2 things about angle or side B, I know 1 thing about C, and I know nothing about A. So when I'm setting up my first proportion, I better use B and C because I have everything about B and 1 thing about C. So B, I have side and angle, so sine of B over side for B. And then C, I don't know the angle, but I do know the side. So this works 2 ways. So I'm still going to cross multiply. And then divide, by 15. So I have sine C equals 11 sine of 130 divided by 15. Now notice I can't just put like sine C. It says angle C, not sine C. Now we've talked about before, anytime you are solving for an angle and you are using the calculator, you will have to do the inverse. So I would have to take the inverse of both sides. So angle C is going to equal the inverse sine of all of this. And now you might be looking at this going, oh crap, I do remember this. But it's not that bad to put into the calculator. I'm going to put it in exactly like I see it. So second sine, because I am looking for an angle. And then everything I had before that. So 11 sine 130, still in degrees, over 15. And then angles, we round to the nearest angle. So 34.17, the 1 tells us to leave it at 34 degrees. So to find, and let me draw this in here, to find angle A, we go back to geometry, classic 180 minus 130 minus 34. And we get 16 degrees. So I can tell that side A is definitely going to be small. So to find side A, I'm going to need sine of angle A over side A. And then again, you can use B or C. I knew everything about B originally, so I'm just going to use B as my proportion. You don't have to do it that way. You can use C. I just prefer to do the one that I was given all the information about at the beginning. So cross multiply. Divide. So A is going to be 15 sine 16 over sine 130. Now notice, because I am not looking for angle A, I am looking for side A, I just plug this in like I see it. So the only time you have to do inverse is when you are looking for an angle. If you are only looking for a side, you should be able to plug in like you see it. And remember 3 numbers after the decimal.